Verification is when the federal government wants the financial aid office to confirm the information that was submitted by the family on their FAFSA. It's really to make sure that students and their families are completing the FAFSA correctly, and to make sure that they are receiving every bit of financial aid that they're eligible for.
The Department of Education randomly selects a family, and they ask the financial aid administrators to compare what this family has put on the FAFSA to what they've put on their federal tax return. And financial aid administrators have to make sure that those two things match. And in the event that there are discrepancies or errors, if you will, the financial aid administrators have to actually correct that before they can finalize the financial aid award.
Typically what that means is we need to verify how many people are in your household, how many people that are in the household are going to college, and your tax information. So we're going to collect all this information and compare it to what you said on the FAFSA. Once that process is through, we'll be able to award you financial aid.
Families often are concerned and think that, oh, I've been selected for verification, I'm being audited. And that's not the case. A lot of times it really is a random process. The federal government randomly selects 30% of all financial aid applicants for the process called verification. And it is up to the school then to complete that process. And often we have to complete that process before we can actually put together a financial aid award for a student.
People seem to think that verification is some sort of a penalty or a punishment, and it certainly is not. And people shouldn't look at it as that. Just understand that while the overwhelming majority of it is random, in some instances people do enter information that doesn't make sense.
If the school sees that there might be a mistake on the FAFSA, we might select a student just because if there is a mistake, we want to make sure that we get that corrected so that students and their families can receive every piece of financial aid that they're eligible for.
Once you get selected for verification and we mail you out the information that you need to return to us, it is very important that you get that back to us as soon as possible. Once we do get it back in our office, you're looking at anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks processing time, depending on the time of year it is. That's why we say start the FAFSA process early in January.
Starting with the 2012-2013 school year, the schools are no longer going to be able to accept personal tax returns, and this is different than from years past, where we would be able to request just a copy of the family's and the student's tax return and be able to finish the verification process. The Department of Education has changed those regulations, and so we are now going to either require the family to log into their FAFSA and use the IRS data retrieval. So you go into your FAFSA and you authorize the IRS to import your information into the FAFSA, or the family and the student will have to contact the IRS and request a transcript from their tax return be sent to them and then send that on to the school.
For our returning students, it is extremely important because we don't even issue them a financial aid award until we complete the verification process.